If Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl, milk it.
Reality is knocking on the door of the porta potty. The truth is finally coming to the light. The same light that is going to be dimming here in about 12 hours when Caitlin Clark is eliminated from the playoffs.
WNBA's future was shining bright with Caitlin Clark, but after her playoff elimination, things have taken a sharp turn. For the worse, viewer numbers have dropped dramatically, and many are questioning the league's dependence on one star player. Is the WNBA in trouble? Let's find out. From her dominant college career at Iowa to her first professional season with the Indiana Fever, Clark's rise was nothing short of meteoric. Her style of play, characterized by deep three-pointers, sharp assists, and an ability to control the game's pace, quickly made her a fan fave. Not only did she elevate the Fever from a struggling franchise to playoff contenders, but she also became the face of the WNBA. Clark's ability to generate excitement was evident not just in her stats, but in the numbers she brought to the league. Games featuring Clark consistently drew high viewership, paying at $1.8 million for a regular season match, an unprecedented figure for the WNBA. Ticket sales, merchandise sales, and media attention all surged as Clark's star power grew. It's no exaggeration to say that Caitlin Clark single-handedly rejuvenated interest in women's basketball, attracting fans who had never watched a WNBA game before. Her appeal wasn't limited to just basketball. Efficient auto, she transcended the sport and became a cultural icon. Her performances on the court were historic. Clark set numerous rookie records, including most points and assists by a rookie guard and being the first WNBA rookie to record multiple triple-doubles. With her ability to score from anywhere on the court and lead her team, she was drawing comparisons to NBA legends like Stephen Curry and LeBron James. But beyond her on-court heroics, Clark represented something larger for the WNBA. The hope that the league could finally break through into the mainstream, that it could sustain the level of excitement that other professional sports leagues enjoyed. But with her elimination from the playoffs, the WNBA now faces a challenge of maintaining that excitement without its biggest star. The question remains, has the WNBA built a foundation strong enough to stand without Clark, or was it too reliant on her to carry the league? Only time will tell if the Caitlin Clark effect was enough to secure the league's future, or if her absence will lead to its downfall. Caitlin Clark's exit from the playoffs wasn't just a loss for the Indiana Fever. It was a catastrophic blow to the WNBA as a whole. In the first game after her elimination, the league's viewership plummeted from over $1.8 million to a meager 161,000 viewers. That's not just a dip in ratings, that's a nosedive for a league that has been struggling for years to maintain consistent viewership. This sharp decline is a clear indication that the WNBA's reliance on Clark might have been its undoing. The playoffs are supposed to be the most exciting part of any sports season, but without Clark they become a ghost town. Games that should be drawing massive crowds and breaking records are instead seeing empty arenas and dismal TV ratings. The Indiana Fever, who had become a must-at team with Clark on the roster, are now just another forgotten franchise. It's as if the league's entire identity was tied to one player, and now that she's out, the WNBA is struggling to stay relevant. But the real issue isn't just a ratings drop, it's what that drop represents. The WNBA's over-reliance on a single player to drive viewership and interest has exposed a much deeper problem. The league hasn't done enough to build a sustainable fan base. While Clark's presence certainly brought in new fans, those fans were there for her, not for the league, and now that she's gone, so are they. This ratings plunge should be a wake-up call for the WNBA. It's not enough to rely on one or two superstars to carry the league. If the WNBA wants to survive and thrive in the long term, it needs to figure out how to engage viewers beyond just one player. Otherwise, the post-Clark ratings crash could be the beginning of a much larger problem. The WNBA's reliance on Caitlin Clark to generate interest and drive ratings is a risky strategy that has backfired spectacularly. While star players are essential to any sports league success, building an entire league around one individual is a dangerous game, and unfortunately for the WNBA, they've been playing that game for far too long. When Caitlin Clark entered the league, it was a breath of fresh air for the WNBA. Her talent, charisma, and marketability were exactly what the league needed to draw in new fans and generate media attention. But instead of using Clark's star power to lift up the entire league, the WNBA put all its eggs in one basket. Clark became the face of the league, and everything — ratings, ticket sales, merchandise, and even sponsorship deals — seemed to hinge on her success. The problem with this approach is that it's not sustainable. What happens when that one player gets injured, or in Clark's case gets eliminated from the playoffs? The league's entire business model falls apart. Without Clark, the WNBA is now scrambling to figure out how to keep fans engaged and interested, but the truth is they should have been building up other players and creating more storylines from the start. This over-reliance on one star also puts enormous pressure on that individual. Caitlin Clark is undoubtedly a generational talent, but she can't carry the entire league on her back. Expecting her to do so is not only unfair but also unrealistic. The WNBA needs to take a long, hard look at its marketing and business strategy. If the league wants to survive and grow, it can't continue to put all its hopes on one player. It needs to diversify its talent pool, promote other stars, and create a more balanced and sustainable model for success. The financial implications of Caitlin Clark elimination go far beyond just empty seats and low TV ratings. The WNBA has long been subsidized by the NBA, receiving $200 million annually to keep the league afloat. While the NBA generates billions in revenue each year, the WNBA has historically struggled to break even. In fact, the league has lost an estimated $10 million per season for years, with a dramatic drop in ratings and attendance following Clark's exit. The financial strain on the WNBA is only going to get worse. One of the biggest revenue streams for the WNBA is television contracts. Networks like ESPN and ABC have invested heavily in broadcasting WNBA games, but those investments are based on the assumption that people will actually tune in to watch. With Clark out of the playoffs, viewers ship has tanked, and that's a major problem for the league's bottom line. If TV ratings continue to decline, networks may start to reconsider their commitment to the WNBA, which could result in smaller contracts and less revenue for the league. Ticket sales are another area where the WNBA is feeling the financial strain. During the regular season, games featuring Caitlin Clark were consistently sold out, but now that she's no longer in the playoffs, those sellouts have become a thing of the past. Empty arenas mean fewer ticket sales, and that's a major blow to the league's revenue. Merchandise sales have also taken a hit, as fans are less likely to buy jerseys and gear when their favorite player isn't on the court. The financial fallout from Clark's elimination is a stark reminder of just how much the WNBA was relying on her to keep the league afloat. Without her, the league is facing a significant revenue gap that will be difficult to fill. If the WNBA wants to avoid financial collapse, it needs to find a way to generate revenue beyond just one star player. Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA has been undeniable, but the league's failure to capitalize on her success is a missed opportunity that could have long-term consequences. Instead of using Clark's star power to lift up other players and create compelling storylines, the WNBA became overly focused on promoting her and her alone. This single-player focus has left the league vulnerable, and now that Clark is out of the playoffs, the WNBA is struggling to stay relevant. One of the biggest missed opportunities for the WNBA was the chance to build rivalries and create excitement around multiple teams and players. Rivalries are a key driver of fan engagement in sports, but the WNBA has failed to create any lasting ones. Instead, the league has been content to rely on individual stars like Clark to draw attention. While that strategy may work in the short term, it's not enough to build a sustainable fan base. The WNBA also missed the opportunity to market its other stars more effectively. Players like Breanna Stewart, A.I.A. Wilson, and Nefa Collier are incredibly talented and have the potential to be major draws for the league, but because the WNBA was so focused on promoting Clark, these players have been overshadowed. The league's marketing strategy has been short-sighted, and now that Clark is out, the WNBA is scrambling to figure out how to keep fans engaged. This missed opportunity is a clear sign that the WNBA needs to rethink its approach to marketing and promotion. The league can't afford to rely on just one player to carry the weight of the entire league. If the WNBA wants to grow and thrive, it needs to create more compelling storylines, build rivalries, and promote a wider range of players. Only then will the league be able to sustain its momentum and keep fans coming back even when its biggest stars are off the court. The WNBA is at a crossroads. Caitlin Clark's elimination from the playoffs has exposed the league's vulnerability and raised serious questions about its future. With ratings plummeting, empty arenas, and a significant revenue gap, the WNBA is facing an existential crisis. Can the league survive without its biggest star, or is this the beginning of the end for women's professional basketball? The answer to that question depends on how the WNBA responds to this crisis. The league has a chance to learn from its mistakes and make the necessary changes to ensure its survival. First and foremost, the WNBA needs to diversify its talent pool and promote a wider range of players. Caitlin Clark may be the face of the league, but she's not the only talented player in the WNBA. Players like A.A. Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Nefa Collier all have the potential to be major stars, and the league needs to do a better job of promoting them. The WNBA also needs to create more compelling storylines and build rivalries that Will keep fans engaged. Sports fans love a good rivalry, and the WNBA has the potential to create some great ones, but to do that the league needs to focus on building up teams and creating excitement around the entire league, not just one player. Finally, the WNBA needs to find new ways to generate revenue. The league can't rely solely on TV contracts and ticket sales to stay afloat. It needs to explore new revenue streams such as sponsorship deals, merchandise sales, and partnerships with other brands. The WNBA has the potential to be a profitable league, but needs to get creative and think outside the box. In the end, the future of the WNBA will depend on its ability to adapt and evolve. Caitlin Clark's elimination may have been a setback, but it doesn't have to be the end. If the league can learn from this experience and make the necessary changes, it can not only survive but thrive in the years to come. The WNBA is facing a major challenge in the wake of Kate Clark's elimination, but it's not too late to turn things around. What do you think the league should do next? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates.